Good morning, everybody. What's going on? What's going on? This is Leonard Miles, aka 2 Degrees and the CDL, coming live from my personal pickup truck on this cold Saturday morning. I'm just coming on here today, and I'm gonna be doing a few reaction videos, moving forward, just the different trucking topics, just to keep everybody informed and keep everybody aware of what's going on out here in this industry. Some good, some bad, and unfortunately, for this driver right here, do not end up being in the position that he's in. Shout out to CDL Shorty. I'll tag him in this video as well. But he talked about fraud in the trucking industry, scamming in the trucking industry, more so with courses. But I think he was just talking about scamming just in general. Like, it's not good for the industry. So I'm gonna read this article and we'll talk about it. Excuse me. Okay. This is about an ex-road runner trucker sentenced in $112,000 fraud scheme. It said judge orders truck driver, dispatch manager to pay over $112,000 in restitution. I found this article, definitely informative. Shout out to Freight Waves. That's where I got the article from. A federal judge has sentenced a Las Vegas man to supervised release and 6 months of house arrest for his role in an embezzlement scheme to defraud the trucking company where he worked out of more than $112,000. So let's just stop right there. No jail time, basically just probation, and 6 months of house arrest. Do you feel that justice was served for him? I'm gonna continue to read, but what do you all think so far just from that? I have my opinions, but I'll continue to just keep reading. Judge Brian Boucher of the U.S. District of the U.S. District Court for the District of Nebraska on Wednesday ordered Johnny Bradford II, 52, formerly of Lancaster, California, to serve 3 years of supervised release and 6 months on house arrest after pleading guilty to one count of wire fraud in September. So he's just on probation, y'all. Probation for 3 years and 6 months house arrest for stealing over 6 figures from his company. From stealing from the place that you work at. But we know, unfortunately, stuff like this happens all the time. But let's just continue to just keep reading. Busher granted Bradford's attorney's motion for downward departure, meaning he imposed a sentence below the guideline range because while Bradford participated in the scheme, it was to a much lesser extent than his co-defendant. Bradford faced a maximum sentence of 20 years. He and the previously sentenced co-defendant must pay over $112,000 in restitution. So what happened? According to court documents, Bradford drove for the refrigerated division of Roadrunner from February 28, 2017 through May the 4th, 2018 in Sarpy County, Nebraska. At the time, Roadrunner used EFS, an electronic wire transfer service, to issue driver cash advances for equipment repairs and trailer washouts, or to pay lumper fees to third-party workers to unload his trailers. Federal prosecutors alleged that Bradford teamed up with another employee, Amy Shepard, 44, of Wichita, Kansas, to carry out the elaborate scheme. Shepard worked for Nebraska-based Roadrunner Temperature Control from July 2016 through June 21st, 2019 as a customer service manager, a driver business leader manager, and finally as a dispatch lead manager. And going back to CDL Shorty's video, he said that he doesn't really want to work with anybody in this trucking industry who can't relate to trucking, and mainly talking about if you don't have your CDL, how can you really understand what it is being a truck driver on a day-to-day basis. But with this right here, this is somebody who's a dispatcher, who's in this field and making, some important decisions. and, you decide to screw the company. So it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, whether you got a CDL or not, if you don't have good morals, you'll turn the other cheek. Of course, things like this will happen. Let's continue. The pair were indicted by a federal grand jury in the Nebraska court in January 2022. Prosecutors alleged that beginning in February 2018, Shepard used her position to fraudulently generate advances and enter EFS check codes, which she then sent to Bradford over 16 months. So it's clear that she abused her position of power. She abused her power. When that happens, a lot of times companies are really going to, I'm pretty sure there's going to be new policies and procedures with this company moving forward, as far as who they decide to put into certain positions. One of these things, unfortunately, though, is, there's no way that you can, well, unless you doing a lot of detector tests and, you putting people through, you asking certain questions, to, see if they're deceptive. But either way it goes, you can probably get your way through a lot of detector tests, even if that was the case. But like they always say, man, what's done in the dark comes to the light, man. So, hey, she wasn't gonna get away with this regardless. According to court documents, Bradford would cash the checks at vendors' establishments, then send part of the fraudulent driver advances back to Shepard via Western Union. So yeah, they had a little elaborate scheme going on. In August 2020, FreightWaves reported that Roadrunner Transportation Systems Inc. has sold its reefer division, Roadrunner Temperature Control, to Laurel Oak Capital Partners. Shepard was sentenced to 18 months in prison in November after pleading guilty in August to one count of wire fraud. So shout out to FreightWaves for this article. So what do you all think about this? What do you all think? Do you all think that the driver was held accountable enough? Me personally, I do not. You stealing anything from your company, hey, that's just unethical, man. He should lose his CDL for good, but we know that even with that, there are companies, and more so like owner-operator type of companies, I hate to say it, that they'll hire you even though you may not have the qualifications, even though you may not have your CDL active anymore, in order to get stuff from point A to point B. And that's why, just so much stuff in this trucking industry that's going on that's fraudulent. Like I said, I'll definitely be doing a follow-up video from a video that I did in response to a Houston trucking company, basically turning the other cheek with a CDL driver whose driver's license, his CDL was suspended because he never completed the SAP program. And he ended up, killing a cop out of Tennessee. But I'll talk about that, But would it surprise me if this driver, ended up back in somebody's truck? Like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the law works out there as far as in Nebraska, which where he was sentenced. He's out of. He's from Las Vegas, but he was, of course, sentenced out of Nebraska. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like it was enough. I feel like, he should have got some time, just like how she got some time. But, I think when it comes to the feds, it's all about who tells first. So he told first. He beat her to the feds first, and, he was able to cut himself a deal. But, he's still responsible for that restitution. Now, how he pays that restitution, who knows? But y'all let me know what y'all think about this video, about this reaction to this article. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. The support is definitely appreciated. I got a few more videos that I'll be shooting and uploading. And until next time, y'all take care.